I'm like, seriously?
One 12-year-old's enough. Two 12-year-olds.
And when they're twins.
Oh, yeah. They play off bigger. Good question, though. And girls especially.
And girls, yeah.
Another one of them Disney awards.
Yeah.
It's just.
I'll show you when they got them over here. That's right. Well, it's a new one in the city, for sure. So then, I saw that on pictures they did show. When I saw it, I was like, oh, is that new company? So, yeah, and we were glad that they started in Warrensburg.
I felt like
you'll be able to look at it right here and see what it is on this laptop.
Hi, Becky. Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Well.
Ron, how you doing?
This is it where it was already set out?
No, they were just laying in a row.
laying
there. No, yes, I did.
It just happened to look like that.
It does kind of look like that, but I don't think so.
Well, I have too, but she was
better, but
and I'm a member, she is at the Warrensburg, Johnson County.
Okay.
Master Gardeners. And so.
No, but she did put it on.
I'm gonna move so I'm not right there on the camera. I'm always front and center.
And they had people there, but just, I don't think it caught that weather. I did take course. But as I said, it's an international master. So I know what's going on this week, so I was just wondering whether.
Yeah, she would have thought she would have said it.
Nice to meet you.
People coming here when you're leaving.
Camera, this is my phone camera. Going with it. I like last couple of times I've been like,
You can come in. I don't know, I tell them.
Try to ignore it.
Go ask. I'll go tell them.
I thought, one time I thought, oh, I know, and then I was right in it. So
well, they'll probably like readjust it or something and say the right thing now that I've moved over here. But that's okay.
Right, yeah, right.
Are we on camera somewhere?
we are. We tried to angle it where we could get the people to hold it together. I think we got the whole board. Some of it is hurt. That's good speed.
I bumped myself down, but I wasn't like, but I feel like it was angled that way.
Oh, you switched seats?
Yeah, I went and looked at it and then I came down here.
But I was like, what is she doing? That makes sense.
I hate being on there. I usually just block and have my name on there. I do not like being on.
I don't either. You don't like that?
I don't like being on there. Yeah.
I like it when I can listen and I can.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah. It is because some people have to keep it on, and then it's like they're folding clothes, and then they're moving around with the cameras everywhere. I'm trying to watch, and this person is like getting up there, doing this, doing that, and grooming their dog and everything. I'm like, we don't need to see you actually. You can just.
Oh.
of that past. Some of the.
I've been cooking.
I know.
So do they all stay at your house then?
Well, my little ones just live out. And then, my granddaughter's at home. They can both stay with me, but they're kind of.
I want to keep this pretty short.
They're okay. Modeling out of my hair, having happy. Yeah.
What part of the lake are you on?
We were in the house this year. It sounds really impressive. We were in a house and it's grown like the Ozarks. And we're actually this year going to move around and try everything. We're actually pretty close to we don't have a boat, but I always make sure that they have a dock.
Or somebody rents it down there. Paddleboard or boat or. Well, if you've got young kids, they really
You're not here?
Right, yeah. That's what I was trying to figure out who was this.
Exactly, yeah. You guys are going to do that once in a while, yeah.
How are you?
Okay.
Looking at the pictures behind you, I'm thinking, man, I might have missed that class because I don't think I can paint any of that.
Yeah, that mine would just look like.
I know, right?
No, it's intimidating when you look.
I know, in my mind, I can paint like that.
Mine would be like the show Nailed It, where it's like a beautiful, and then they're like, wah, wah.
Yeah. How far away do I live? 15. We sign this time? Jackie, we sign.
I didn't hear you.
Can we sign off on these this time?
Yes, yeah, I'll be collecting those this time and submitting them. I think that's your last one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You already took care of it.
About 25 minutes.
What is it today?
Everything.
21?
Here she is.
So
You're the animal, you'll have to-
I can do that for you. Yeah, no problem.
Hi.
Judy, I have minutes for you to sign. Especially if I get approved.
Good wait.
Oh, yes, I think.
The last time I was home,
My garden.
Yeah, I just, we got all kinds of doctors, all kinds of business girls.
and we did every Wednesday from 9 to 12.
I don't know, my daughter ordered it offline. I don't have a, yeah. It's a little bigger than what I would have liked it to be.
And
I roll with it.
In the Valera.
Friends are trying to learn, but I just have to sit. And it's not even exciting.
Well, I can see it without my glasses on. That's,
Yeah, I have a Fitbit also.
yeah.
And the shirt is a little, I like put my arm out and it doesn't come on, and I'm like,
And then I think, okay, then there's a button. I forgot there's a button.
I wish it was where it
a lot of
Yeah, but that's the best part I like about it, is I can see it without my glasses. Yeah, I can. I have it set off.
My son has wanted one, and I'm like,
She was sort of offline.
Yeah.
Working and what didn't work.
Yeah.
So I told her, I said, I don't want to.
Girls doesn't appreciate this building, but Holden does.
And it should. Definitely.
You wanted something, you know, subs or anything, because a lot of
The
people.
only problem is that sometimes I have a hard time with it.
We only had 2 people after hours. It was just driving.
I'm sure they got some, a little,
Yeah, we were walking it, and she stopped.
a little better, but.
In the 40s.
And another lady, she was out in the front yard, and what we were doing, that we were.
I don't even know how old the library is. I don't even know how old the Porter Library is.
Oh, is that right? We did not.
One time when I was little, we had a
Had a book.
the library was in a room behind. So the back of the building.
Most of them were there.
And I remember it was,
It was things like the
yeah.
and so
AC and really
where they should not have gone.
Your wife come with you?
Yeah. No, she didn't need to.
I should have planned that, Mayor. I should have planned that in over here. Well, when they planted it, and it's like 20 years later, it's like, right at the I agree with that. Walking the window.
Cheryl with you or not?
Like, you know, the tree's dead, they really need to. Oh, okay. It was the type of quality.
Yeah, by phone.
He did a lot of help when I started.
I mean, I do a lot of gardening, but I didn't.
It was quite fun. It covered everything, all the way from veggies to annuals.
Yeah.
Vegetables. And steak.
We have a new table.
Yeah. Trees.
Yeah, that would be invitation. Imagine someone having a
Don't you know he's right?
Everybody's having one but me. No, I haven't gone anywhere in 10 years. I'm so sad about it. Oh no.
You're well overdue for a vacation.
I am.
Is that Judy Walter? Asking, is she, I mean, oh, she did, okay.
You'll have to go that way.
We had paid her way. We had paid her way to go.
Well, she just got here, and so she had said that she might be able to come back. And last I had heard, she was. So she may.
Well, that's good.
She was heading to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. A few years ago, I bought a new golf cart. We did 2 of these. Me and my wife both got one of those. About 8 years ago, I got a new golf cart.
My husband goes to the town sale. They'll buy $30,000 per pound, and they'll give him a hat.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a lot of very expensive hats if I grow up.
Well, my grandkids all do something.
Oh, yeah. There are all kinds of very.
Just to let everybody know, it is 7 o'clock, but I'm going to give Judy Walter a little bit of time to get back up to the table, so.
Let Judy sit here rather, don't you think? Yeah, I don't know if she wants to sit there.
I don't know where anything is. Where the water towers are. Yeah. There. And then my daughter. You knew the back road. To go have it to get there.
Don't pretend she's joking.
It is.
I went to a meeting the other night, and they're just reading us, but totally blind without it, yeah.
I could not see a thing without everything.
So that was a little bit of a like, hello, Nadia.
You get and blurry and busy.
I know about this. I don't know about this about me, but yeah.
Takes a long time to finish.
I guess so.
Here to support this work.
See, when I can see things, I think about browse,
Yeah.
nice to look at.
It's daylight.
Yeah,
It's
it's a nice
daylight.
driving. Turn around, just get my.
6 weeks long.
I guess I could.
Oh my God. That's like more work than
I grew up in Orange.
Yeah, I know what that is. Well, I mean, sort of. Well,
I have a lot of flowers.
I think we need to go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order. We take care of some preliminary business. Judy, Tyler, could we get roll call, please?
Okay. Carla Dillon. Here. Becky Courier. Here. Rosie Edwards. Here. Patty Law.
here.
Janice Neal.
Here.
Scotty Walker.
Here.
Ron McMullen.
Here.
Judy Tyler here and Judy Walter. We are.
I'm here.
Sandy. Oh, okay, I don't.
He's remote.
I'm online. Okay, Sandy, I got you.
Okay. All right. Public comments. Teresa? Okay.
I see a lot of familiar faces here and some I don't know, so I'll introduce myself. My name is Teresa O'Hoyan. I've worked with Trails for the past 3.5 years. This past 1.5 years, I've been the manager here in Holden. I love my job. It's an awesome community. And right now we're in the middle of summer reading program, which we have every summer. So far we've signed up about 80, 82, 83 people, which is really good for Holden. Anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
Well, I've been elected to do this, so let's make it painless, okay? I don't know if all of the people here know that we have some board members that have been on the board many, many years. And they have served Trails. They've done an awesome job. And if you think this is a really nice library, you can thank Scotty Walker. Because he worked tirelessly to have this building built. He worked tirelessly with Trails to keep it open and keep it operating. So it's not a lot, but we just have a little gift to maybe commemorate some of your years. How many years you been on the board, Scotty?
26 years.
Ron, how many years have you been on?
8. I will predicate that. It's not 26 continuous years. It was 7 years on the Holden board, 8 years on this board, and 8 years again on this board. But this was looped or held together by my service on the foundation board. So it's 26 continuous years.
Yeah, and we feel like you've done a great job, and we appreciate all of your dedication and your hard work and your commitment to service. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, all the board. Appreciate it. All right, we're up to the consent agenda.
Oh, no, the public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Forgot about that. I'm just going to go down the list in the order that you signed up. So, Donna Cheney.
I'm as proud as a pig for this library, and I tell people about it. And when I come in here, Teresa and Kelly, y'all have just done wonders to make this so beautiful and lively and everything. So I'm just glad I'm from Holden. It's a Holden good town, and I've been with Scotty since he got the idea. And I was on the Holden board, and he said, if we can have tennis courts, we can have a new library. And I thought, oh no, we're going to have a fundraiser. We got it done, didn't we?
Yeah.
So I thank
I
you.
don't know. Are there any of our other board members here? No.
That was on in that time.
No,
So,
yeah.
but I'm as proud as I can be of this beautiful place.
Thank you, Donna. Today.
I just want to say how proud I am of Scotty. I started working at the old library back in 1998, and it was 900 square feet, crammed full of books from floor to ceiling. I had one mother who would come in and check out books for her kids because she said, I'm not bringing the kids in here because I'm afraid they'll knock something over. And so Scotty was on the board, and at that time the board was talking about where can we find a place to move to where we'd have more room, and nobody could come up with any ideas. And first thing I know, here's Scotty saying, we'll build a new library. And Vern Lloyd donated the land for this library. He said it's to be used specifically for a library. And here was Scotty. He started fundraising right away. We all worked so hard. Everybody in the community, we had all kinds of fundraisers and worked super hard. And it took a lot of people. Some people donated $20,000. Most people donated more like $5. And it was just a super time, and I'm so proud of him and the whole community for making this possible. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Michelle Smith.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Smith. I'm a crisis response clinician for Compass Health, and I'd just like to provide a little bit of information for the upcoming discussions concerning the housing displaced in Warrensburg. I'm just one representative organization of many that we set up a resource table every Thursday for the Coffee and Connections initiative. We set up resource tables to provide information and support to those people that need it and have trouble getting into our offices or organizations. Personally, I've been able to connect 9 consumers with mental health or behavioral health services, so mental or substance use, 7 of which are still actively engaged in services, either with an IHS, which is a case manager, counseling and or psychiatry for med management. 90% of the people I see every Thursday are actively engaged, and approximately 40 or 50% of those, I couldn't come up with numbers today, but they are on the housing list. But unfortunately, our housing list for statewide is at least 200 on an average. So they are actively engaged. We're just trying to find a place to put them that's safe and secure And in the meantime, make them feel like they're productive members of society and not outcasts. We want to be welcoming to our housing displaced and provide additional support. But unfortunately, our hands are tied because we're out of options. So I would like to be included in future discussions if at all possible. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you. So we're out of yeses. We're up to maybes now.
That one's gonna wait.
Pardon me? You're gonna.
A little, maybe.
Stacey Clements.
Hi, my name is Stacey Clements. I'm the Associate Director for Survival House. We serve Johnson and Henry County for those that are fleeing domestic and sexual violence. So we often get people who are displaced. While people are in our services, we have an outreach program and we also have a shelter program. Within our shelter program, obviously they do have somewhere to go through the day and at night. For our outreach clients, those are people who are already within our community, just depending on, whatever that they may need. One of our advocates, Sharetta Willard, she's our resource and family advocate. She also partakes in the Coffee Connections to be able to pass resources along to anybody that's in need. And that can be, they could have historic domestic violence or sexual violence. We'll help give them as many resources as possible. So surviving is definitely what should be included in any type of conversations that are had about people who are displaced, because we often people who are displaced and don't have somewhere to go have experienced some form of sexual violence. It's really important to attach those resources to anybody in need. So we definitely want to be involved in any conversation that we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Heather Worsing?
I'm Heather Worsing. I'm just an activist in the community of Warren. I just wanted to read you guys some things that I was sent today from some other members of our community that have talked to some of our friends who are housing displaced about how they've been affected. This conversation about the homeless library started a couple of weeks ago. There are clients that have wanted to speak at the library meeting, but they couldn't because obviously we're in Holden tonight, we're not in Warrensburg. So they don't feel like they have a voice here, which I think is every day in our community at this point. They feel like they have no voice, and I feel like that's why I'm speaking tonight, because usually happens not. But this just makes me mad. I'm like so mad. So sorry. This really got me today. A man at the hospital. He didn't know where he was going to spend the day because of the complaints. He was getting ready to be discharged from the hospital, and he didn't know where he was going to go. He was so hospital. And you want to take that away from people because they don't have anything else. And you want to bring it to a meeting where they can't even represent themselves. The library isn't for everyone. And that's all.
Jackie West.
Hello, I am Jackie West, and I run the homeless shelter in Warren. So I'm over.
Excuse me, I cannot hear the person. Can they get closer to the microphone?
Thank you, Sandy.
I run the homeless shelter in Warrensburg, one of them. And I am here to defend them all. I love our library. I love our library staff. They do a fantastic job. I do every day. Take paperwork. I put them on the housing list they were talking about. We work with domestic violence. We work closely with Survival House. We work with the other homeless shelter in Warrensburg. They are all displaced people, but displaced people are not bad people. There are housed people that a lot of people think are displaced and unhoused, and they're not. That's not the case. So I don't have a lot to say right now, but I will probably have a lot to say later because we want to be involved in this discussion. We want to defend them and figure out a solution.
Anyone else? All right, no other comments. We'll move on with the agenda. Consent agenda items.
I have
Yes, Sandy.
Well, I'm on the checks. Is this when we approve the check register? There's a number 7035 and it's made out to O, D as in dog, P as in Patty. And I don't know who that is. And then there's a check number 7045 made out to the Boy Scouts again. How many times do we pay the Boy Scouts a year? And do we belong to every Boy Scout troop in the counties?
No.
Because it wasn't very long ago we paid the Boy Scouts $50. If I can remember right. I may be wrong.
It's an annual like membership that we do, and then they come and put the flags up for us on certain holidays. And I want to say there's 2, maybe 3 towns that we do that for. I think it is.
They're the only ones.
Huh?
They're the only ones that we sign checks for.
No, there's more than one community. I can't remember. I know Warrensburg is one.
That's the only one I have ever seen.
I think there may be just 2. So I don't know off the top of my head what the other community is. And what was the other one that you mentioned?
7035. It's O is in only, D is in dog, P is in Patty. I don't know what ODP is.
Okay, let me pull that invoice just so I. Is that the one for 1892?
I think so, yes.
Okay,
I just haven't. I'm sorry.
Office supplies.
Okay, yeah. I just didn't know. I thought it was just ADP and maybe it was a mistake for ADP,
No,
but that's
no,
okay.
Okay.
Thank you for checking. I'm trying to read, I have the agenda on my phone and all this is it's kind of small to read some of this because I just have it on my phone. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Good question.
Any other?
Are we splitting it into 4?
Not unless somebody wants.
Minutes, financial reports, general fund, financial report, designated gifts.
Not unless somebody wants to. That's why it's on the consent agenda.
Sandy, do you want to deal with this as a whole, or do you want to break up? I don't know if you heard that conversation or not.
Yes, I think we need to break that up again as before. I just think that's a better option for us. If we could, I'd make a motion to break those consent agenda up.
Okay. So do we have questions on any other of the financial?
The minute.
Oh, minute. Okay. Any discussion on the minutes?
Am I allowed to move since I wrote the minutes?
I move that we accept the minutes as reported.
All right.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as recorded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? What was that?
She said aye.
Aye, okay.
She's opposed? Or no?
She agreed.
All right.
Financial report, general fund. Any discussion?
I move we accept the financial report, general fund.
Second.
Motion by Judy Tyler and a second by Jane Beal.
Patty Long.
Which Patty Long?
To accept.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Designated gifts.
I have a question.
Yes.
I'd like to know how the progress is going to reach out to the banks. And I did understand that the foundation board is reaching out to Edward Jones. And so I'm wondering if that shouldn't be an option with our designated gifts here too, that we should be exploring them just like the foundation board is for interest-bearing accounts, since the interest rates are so high right now. And if that money is not being, if we don't need to use it right now for 9 or 12 months, whatever the CDs are, I think that we're really missing the boat, and we're doing a disservice to our taxpayers right now. When they find out that we have not invested that money, our taxpayers are not going to be very happy.
I would agree that we could be investing that money within our current banking structure just by buying CDs without having to change banks. But that's just.
Exactly. That's my point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we just vote though to
Go out
for bids? We already voted on that last meeting.
But has any progress been made on that?
No, it hasn't. And I had told you guys at the last meeting there wouldn't be. I mean, it's in the recording, so. No one said they had an issue with it then, so. I will get to it when I can, as soon as I can.
Do we know if the bank that we deal with now, do they offer CDs or anything that would pay?
I'd have to look. I'm not sure. I would think they would be in the bank.
Every bank offers CDs.
Isn't it United?
Every bank offers CDs. Yeah. I just think we're doing a disservice to our taxpayers. And I think that should be one of the top items on the list, because that's extra money we could be getting every year right now. I mean, to the tune of several $1,000s, like, $10,000 to $13,000 a year more versus $325 or $235 it was that we got last year. I think, we need to hop on that. And I don't know if we need to make a motion or what we need to do. I don't know.
It would be a prudent decision. You don't have to buy a 5-year CD. You could buy a 3-month CD or 6-month CD or 1-year CD. It's not like we'd be tying up our money for ages, and then in the meantime we could be looking at different banking options. But I think that would be a prudent thing to do.
Well, and I've just seen some 10-month CDs for 4.56. And that's a pretty good rate.
We already voted have Jackie do bids, and she already told us that she can't get to it right now. And so we're talking over the same thing.
That's why we could be buying some short-term CDs in the meantime. Right. I don't understand why you want to be leaving a sizable chunk of money in the bank at 0.01% interest when we could be getting 4%, even if it's just a short period. And we could do that within our existing banking structure. That makes no sense to me at all. I just can't imagine that we think that's acceptable when we could be doing something within our existing banking structure to get more interest off that money. And it's a pretty sizable chunk of money. Was it $357,000?
Yes, and that would amount to $10,000 to $13,000 a year extra money. And, I just think, we're doing a disservice to our taxpayers and those people that have given us those gifts. And I can't see that that's a big problem, investing it in the same bank. That's just a matter of moving money. I understand that is a possibility. And the rules do say that we only have to visit the bid structure once every 6 years, but it can be done more often than once every 6 years. So I think it's time that we move to do that as one of the top things. That's where $13,000 is a lot. And if this continues for a couple of years, versus $235, that's a no-brainer, guys.
I have a question. The interest that's made off of this designated gifts, It goes back into the designated gifts. It does not go into the general fund.
No, it goes back into designated gifts.
Okay, and so what do we do with the designated gifts?
So it's
Isn't some of it specific that we have to use it a certain way?
Yes. So those are the ones that whenever it was donated or left to the, to the library, bequeathed to the library, that they designate what it can be used for. So
Right.
it's specific what that money can be.
Right, and so it would generate more income in that area.
And there's probably going to have to, because this, like I said, it's a process that a lot, that's what I have to be knowledgeable of to do. But a lot of this, like I've already talked to our attorney about it, and he would have to look at the original documents to see if we could even move that money. How much, because each person it's a legal document through the court system when we get bequeathed that money. And so if it's in their will, it's a legal document.
Right.
And so he would have to examine those to see if there was any stipulations where we couldn't move the money or anything.
But my question is this, the interest that this account makes could be spent however we want it.
Well, I guess technically it could be, but I'm not sure. I would have to look into that to give you.
I mean, I understand it would still be in the designated gifts, but it wouldn't be
You might have to look at, like, if somebody donated 20,000, that the interest on that 20,000
has to stay in there.
in that one.
Yeah.
That's.
So that would have to be a pretty specific.
Well, and that's, I have a whole
Yeah.
tracking thing and how we divvy up the interest when it, at the end of the year. And that's something that you'll be provided in the budget narrative at the August meeting. And also, actually, it was in your packet last month too. That was like a last minute request. So.
But if you donated $20,000 to the library, wouldn't you want that money to grow bigger? Would you be satisfied that the library only managed to get 12 cents worth of interest out of that $20,000 versus $120 or whatever? When somebody donates that money to the library, they have a specific use for it, and if we're waiting for that specific use to come up, shouldn't we make that money grow as much as possible safely?
I would say that if they've donated money like that, they're not necessarily thinking about or worrying about interest rates on that money. They have made a donation, and that's what they've thought about.
I think.
I mean, it would be good stewardship, but I think it's something that we have, like Jackie said, we have to look into it. Because it could be tied up in a will that you can't just do anything with it.
And that's possible.
We're doing anything with it right now by just setting it in a bank, drawing nothing.
I can testify that the church I belong to was bequeathed $100,000. It had to remain in the quarter bank at whatever interest, they would pay it. And for a long time, it was very, very small. And it's gotten a little higher now. But it cannot be touched for 30 years. We can use the interest off the money and put it in our general fund, but we cannot touch the original $100,000.
And that's sometimes,
that's in the will.
yeah, so I mean, wills contain many strange things.
So they can talk about.
Sandy wanted to say something.
Yes, Sandy.
Yes, I think, we could discuss this all night. I'm not asking about taking the money and using it for anything. I'm just thinking those people would be happy to know that we are investing it and making that money grow. So I would like to make a motion that whatever we have to do, if we have to check with Doug Harris to see whatever we have to do, that we can invest that those funds, that interest that we receive would go directly back into the designated gifts and used as per the people that donated the money, whether it's quarter bank. I'm sure they'd be happy to know that $100,000 was being invested more wisely than getting $1.20. or whatever it might be, or
We
$12.
agreed to last
That's
month.
pretty much what we agreed on
We
last
agreed to
month.
last month.
That's what Jackie's already going to be doing, is to look into the legalities of what can be moved and invested.
Yes, but how many more months are we going to have to wait? This is a disservice to the taxpayers. We've done this for 12 months now or more, that we've lost out on $12,000 a year. So like I said, I made a motion to check into it to see that we can immediately, maybe at the UMB Bank, wherever we are, but we need to immediately do that. We need some financial guidance on our monies, because I also understand the foundation board is looking into their monies with Edward Jones right now. So I think we are doing a disservice if we don't do something.
So you're saying the priority is to look at the gifts and the other at bidding out for a different bank account or bank
Not
service.
necessarily, it doesn't have to be a different bank, but we need to go to our bank where it's at and ask them what the best rate that they can give us on CDs for 6 months, 9 months, or whatever, that we are interested in moving and we're not taking it out of any place, but we should be able to invest it at the same bank that we are at right now. And I'm sure that we can get something better than what we were getting and put that money right back into those designated gifts. I'm not asking for it to be moved or spent or anything like that. Just roll it back into those accounts. That could be very simple. Just roll it back into where that designated gift was, whether it was $20,000 and we earned $200 of interest on it. That $200 goes back in with that particular designated gift for the year.
That's already being done.
I have accountants that I know that can do that. I have asked accountants and CPAs that can happen, and we are not doing a good service to our taxpayers if we are not investing.
Did you read the motion?
I have no idea what her exact motion is.
Okay.
I have heard 5 minutes of conversation, but I don't.
Sandy, you want to repeat your motion?
Yes, I make the motion that we invest the designated gift money. We move that into CDs, maybe even at the local bank, at the bank that we are currently at. The money will go back, the interest money will go back into the designated gift account. And if there's $20,000 or $100,000, whatever interest, that percentage would go back into that particular designated gift. The money will not, I'm not asking you to not spend it, but only get a better rate and for us to earn and grow some money on what has been given to the library.
That's a long motion.
Would you like to shorten that motion, Sandy? I said, we invest designated gift money in CDs in the current bank, and then it just kind of took off from there. So I've got it that far. What would you like to
committee?
succinctly say?
We could. There again, you don't know if you can move that money or not until the attorney looks at the legal documents to determine whether it can be done. So you can't even just say, okay, we're going to make a motion, we're going to do this. There's going to have to be some research done before it can actually be done.
And that ball's already.
It's sort of wrong, right?
Money's already in that bank.
Yes, that's what we voted on for me to look into and to bid out service.
That's what I'm saying. Could we form a committee to check into it or check case base? You don't think we need one?
No, you got Jackie, and she's very capable of doing those things. She's known for her position in town, so the banks are going to come clean with her after she's talked with the lawyer again.
Have you been to the bank to talk with them, and have you met them, Jackie?
No, not yet. As I said, I haven't done anything, and I informed the board last month that I would not be able to get to it. This is the busy time for a library director to get budget done. We have the Secretary of State new rule we have to be in compliance. We have tax levy coming up. The budget narrative, which is a huge long document I have to put together. And nobody seemed to have an issue with it last month whenever I announced that. So.
But I still feel we are doing a disservice to our taxpayers, and you should have enough backup people, assistant people in your office And, you know, people don't work just 8 to 5 when they are a salaried person. They work nonstop. I know many people that are putting in a lot of hours right now and to make it happen. And I think that I still feel like we have to do this. We have to get this invested somehow, some way, so we can.
Well, right now, I think you are doing our taxpayers a disservice by bringing this up time after time, and we sit here and argue about it.
Well, until something happens, I'm going to continue to bring it up.
Do we have a motion?
Yes.
Is the motion, I'm going to ask you, Jackie, or Sandy, is the motion that you want to invest the money in our current banking system at a better rate than what we're getting?
Yes, and it goes directly back into the designated gifts.
So we want to move the money into a better paying accounts in the existing bank that we have. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
If it would be done.
Okay, so does everybody understand the motion?
We understand.
Is there a second? I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? I think we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Judy Walter.
No.
Carlin Dillon.
No.
Becky Courier.
No.
Goldie Edwards.
No.
Annie Long.
No.
Jane Beal.
No.
Ron McMullen.
Yes.
Judy Tyler. No. Scotty Walker.
Yes.
Motion defeated.
You didn't ask me.
Oh, Sandy, thank you.
Yes.
Motion defeated by a 7-3.
All right.
I just want to make one thing clear. This is something still that you're going to check into after budget.
Yes, yes, which is what I said last month. I have no issues looking into it. You know, I don't want to be working 80 hours a week, 70, 80 hours a week, and the board should not expect me to.
I thought that's what we agreed. So we're still with the agreement last month.
Yes.
You were checked.
That was given to me as an instruction last month, and I will be working.
I just want to be clear on that.
I move that we accept the financial report for the designated gifts.
All right, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, approval of invoices and checks.
I move that we accept the approval of the invoices and checks.
Second.
Motion by Carlin, second by Jane. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm sorry, Sandy, what'd you say?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? All right. Do we have any unfinished business? All right, new business. First up is Eva Norton. Before I give you the floor, Eva, I would just like to let everyone know that previous to about 2 weeks ago, I had never heard of Eva Norton. Tonight is the first time I've ever met her. So any rumors going around that she's some kind of a pawn of mine, totally false. This is the first time I've ever met her.
Hey, hi. My name is Eva Norton. I know some of you really dislike me and that's fine, and some of you like me and that's cool. I brought something to the attention of the Warrens, just the burr, and it blew up. And I acknowledged that there was a problem that needed to be fixed at the Warrensburg Library. I mean, there's a problem in the community of Warrensburg that needs to be fixed. But it kind of just starts with the library just because that's where it started. And I did meet with Jackie Hawes, and it was a wonderful meeting. and I took away a lot from that. But I really wanted to address, to start with, I'm not going to give any of my opinions on this because my opinions don't really matter. What I do have is the opinion from the community of Warrensburg, just saying that there is a problem. And it's not only a problem with some issues happening in the library, which Jackie has addressed with me, and there are things being done to fix it, but how the Warrensburg Library is seen by the community. That's, I think, one of the biggest hurdles we have. And it is a problem, and it does need to be fixed, because I have here, these are printouts. These are printouts of comments from community members. And I'm going to read some of them, and I'm not going to read any of the bad stuff, but for example, I took my 4-year-old to the library for the first and last time, and the whole time we were in there, about 30 minutes, there was a grown man on a video call on the computer talking to a woman in a very abusive manner, calling her his B word, telling her to take her clothes off, F-bomb this, and word that. So loud his voice was echoing throughout the building. This went on for 25 minutes straight before anyone working confronted the man about his behavior. It's so disappointing. They have such a nice area for children, especially during the summertime to go, but I will never take my kids there again. I feel uncomfortable going there by myself. I don't take my kids there anymore. I don't let my teen girls go there because of an incident that occurred with some grown men catcalling them. Definitely shielding them from that. Definitely a big need for resources, but the city has not shown an interest in acknowledging the problem. This goes on and on and on and on. So there's a problem. There's a problem. And part of the problem is there are not enough resources. There's not a day shelter in Warrensburg. There needs to be a day shelter in Warrensburg because as much as the library is open to everyone and it should be open to everyone, there are certain people that, mainly because of mental health problems or other reasons, have volatile behavior. And this was very awesome. This was addressed by Jackie Haas. I had a really great conversation with her about steps that she was taking to help fix this problem, such as the bathrooms in the back by the kids area. They're closed because of drug use and inappropriate behavior. That shouldn't happen in a kids area in the library. But I talked to Jackie. She had these great ideas about putting someone back there so we can open up those bathrooms so they can be not scary, and also having a greeter at the front door. I did talk to the staff. They're getting a lot of really good training about how to work with people that maybe have mental health problems and need support. And I know that they have reached out to different services and shelters to help them, which is awesome. But I think seeing those things actually happen in the library, because I did talk to the staff. They're amazing. They're doing everything they can, but they're not shelter workers and they're not trained mental health professionals. And maybe we need that in the library. Maybe we need a security person there all the time. Maybe we need a professional mental health person in the library or something, because there is a problem. And right now, people in Warrensburg don't necessarily feel safe bringing their kids to the library, maybe because of past things. Because I know that you showed me all these things that you're doing and how much better it's gotten, which is awesome. I had no idea. And of course, then I made that second post, like you're doing stuff, things are happening. But there's this big idea in Warrensburg now, and not just, community members reaching out to me that they don't feel safe taking their kids to the library. I was there at the library 2 days ago because I'm really busy, but I brought my kids in. I try to practice what I preach. I know one of the big problems is we don't have enough people coming to the Warrensburg Library because of previous past bad press and things that were allowed to happen that are not allowed to happen anymore. No one's coming in as much as they used to. So I'm trying to bring my kids in and tell people, bring your kids in. But when I was standing there of course were unhoused there, and that's fine if there were too. But then there was one particular individual who was walking around kind of angrily talking to himself. And then he did approach me, he did approach my kids. And yeah, it made me uncomfortable, not because he's unhoused, but because people that are mentally ill and angrily talking to someone that's not there, I don't know what's going to happen. I have an autistic child. He already has sensory issues. If someone comes up and screams at him, I don't know what he's going to do. And so it's just, and I did mention it. I try to practice what I preach. If you see something, say something. Jackie, that's one thing that we talked about. But at what point would he be removed? And that's kind of like, I think, what some other people in the community want to know. What's the line? What's the rules? What can we, as a community, give each other to know that we don't have to worry about previous problems in the library anymore? So I know this is a much bigger discussion. I know that Warrensburg doesn't have enough services. I know that. I've tried to reach out to people to talk to them about, it's a bigger problem. I know there's also not loitering ordinances. I know there's not smoking ordinances. I know that there's not a day shelter. My husband brought up a really good point. There's that empty maintenance building behind the library that's closed and boarded.
Not empty.
Oh, I was like, why isn't that? Yeah, I was like, why can't, if the library wants to have an open area for people who aren't necessarily using the library for books, why can't we open up a second area so that if someone who is unhoused, who just wants to get away from the heat and get out of the elements, there's separate space. Anyway, I don't know the solution. I do have this other, in Colorado, they're having a big problem. Colorado library is closed after meth contamination. A second Colorado library is closed after meth contamination. A third library is closed because of meth contamination. So this isn't just a Warrensburg problem, but it is a problem, and I don't want to see the Warrensburg library go down this route, because now the taxpayers are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to decontaminate the libraries before they can open up. So, agree with me, disagree with me, there is a problem. And obviously both sides have very strong feelings, and that's understandable. But we need to merge them and find a solution so that everyone feels safe to come to the library. Sure.
Eva, I would just like to, I don't want this to go on all night, but I just want to say that, as you know, as Mallory know, I tried 2 times in the past to set up a special board meeting in Warrensburg so that Warrensburg citizens could be on their turf and be present to discuss this issue. It got kind of blocked both times. I can't speak for the whole board. I tried to do everything I could to help.
Why did it get blocked? Why did it get blocked?
I don't want to go into
I don't think it didn't get blocked. What I want to say is, I've been on the board for 1.5 years, and we have talked about this problem every single board meeting. Last month, we had public comments on the homeless situation. So it's something that we have been, dealing with the whole time. And I live in Lafayette County, and I just objectively, I want to say, I think a lot of the comments relate to the fact that it's almost like the library is the one who has to solve all of the problem. And I know you're not saying that, Eva. Oh no, there's a big problem. People are talking about, let's get the mental health social workers in, let's get this. The library doesn't, then you have to pay people. And, we've had safety techs in here, but, the library doesn't have the money to pay people buku bucks to come in. So it's something that really, I would think that the city, if they don't have ordinances for smoking and loitering and all that, I think one of the main issue is that the city needs to start stepping in with the ordinances. The library board has done everything that we can. We've had the cameras put in, we've changed policies, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we have worked hard for this, and it's almost like the library board was blamed for not having another, another option for people to come and talk. And anybody is welcome every single meeting to come and talk with public comments. And we've had it multiple times. So it's not like the people in Warrensburg haven't had an opportunity to talk. So, yeah.
So I am not blaming anyone. There is no blame. And Jackie has told me, and Scott has told me about how hard that everyone is working, everyone wants the same thing. I'm not in any way saying that y'all are doing a bad job or not. What?
And we all?
Yeah, no.
Out, I know.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, you know, there's a problem, and I know part of the problem is just the library has a stigma now, and it's something that, you know, I'm here because I want to help. I mean, I'm not just going to complain about something and not do something. I mean, I don't like talking in front of people, but I'm up here, and I know that people don't like me in this room, and that makes me very anxious and uncomfortable, but I'm here anyway, you know, to find out what I can do as a citizen of our community to help fix the problem. And I know what I can do. I can come here. I can make a video on the library. I can bring my own children. I can tell people online to bring their children. But, you know.
Has anybody been to the city council?
Oh, I'm going to go.
Oh, good. You know, I think that would be, it's almost like some of the comments I saw on the thing was, well, the city hasn't done anything or they're not doing anything. And I'm saying there, maybe it's time to put their feet to the fire and say, you know, this is a city problem. The library is trying to do the best they can, but we need some help from you all. And it's time maybe to hit the city council up.
But you also, sure.
The city council has had meetings about it. I've actually been at some of those. The police department, I used to work at the police department at the front desk, and they have been meeting with various groups for years. They are trying, and just like we are.
Yeah, and I'm sure, that's good. You know, the more people on both sides get engaged and start talking, the more things are going to happen.
Can I suggest that you contact our state representative and state senator? Because
absolutely do that.
A comment was made to me that our state representative, who I've never met, and I've known all the state representatives since I've been here, said that the library just looks like a homeless shelter. It's like, well, Mr. Houks, what are you doing at the state level to mitigate this problem? And I see exactly. And I saw in paper a while back where they've made it illegal to sleep on state property.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So why don't we just collectively give all of them a bus ticket, send them down Jefferson City, and they can sleep on the state capitol ground and then let's see if they come up with a solution then.
Yes.
And that's not anti-homeless. I'm sorry, but it's putting the problem on somebody else's doorstep so that it's people who actually can do something will. Or yeah. Do we have?
Oh, well, no, they said that I could say that you could say something, and then
I don't want this to go on all night. So I mean, if there's something short that you want to say.
Oh yeah,
okay.
It looks like there's one from each side.
I'm not on
any side.
I think we all agree there's a problem, and I think the library has been asked to do way more than they should ever have been asked to do. The community center went through a problem with this as well. And I do, you know, maybe the city has been working on it, Goldie, but I've not seen any evidence of it. And I'm wondering if it isn't time for the city to bring together all our, we have an incredible volunteer programs in our community that are working really hard. We have the library, we have the community center. Maybe it's time for everyone to get together, figure out where the holes are, and make a concerted effort so that each person isn't trying to carry the load themselves, because the library has borne way more than they should have, the burden on this.
Thank you.
So, if you guys didn't know this, Kansas City and St. Louis actually bus their homeless people to Warrensburg.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that. Busing them to Jefferson City is not the idea that we should, because we're already pushing them into a place that they are uncomfortable in. And I know you said it.
And that was sarcasm to get the attention of our state representative and state senator.
But there's also a different way to do that. I mean, how many of you guys have volunteered at Refuge on Main Journey Home or Survival House? You guys have volunteered to offer these resources. There are CIT meetings that the police department do put on. Compass is a part of it. The PD is a part of it. The sheriff's a part of it. But we physically cannot hope that these big cities are busing these people to us. We actually had a person fresh out of surgery, got bused to Warrensburg in wheelchair, dropped off in the library.
I don't want to cut you off, but we really do have a long agenda, and this is a conversation that needs to be had in Warrensburg. So, Eva, I appreciate you.
I mean, that was pretty much, here if anyone didn't get one. And like I said, I am in no way saying that anyone hasn't been working and trying, but, you know, there is a problem. I know Jackie's taken awesome steps to fix it. I would hope that, you know, things are done about it. Continuing to be done. Oh, well, you could go to the Burg Facebook post.
I know, and they were dated April.
No, I just made the post recently.
Ones I saw on Burg.
Yeah, the Burg
complaints
from
April.
We have some reading lessons.
Yeah, they're from the post that I made, the recent post that I made on the Burg, and then another Burg, and then someone else made it on
Dates on here.
Wow.
Okay. Eva, I really appreciate you coming tonight.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Move to consider an alternate date for the August meeting.
So when I put the meeting dates together, I missed that one needs to be pushed back a week because of our tax levy and how all of that works. So I am proposing to move the August meeting to August 23rd.
I move that we move the August meeting to August 23rd. I second.
A motion and a second to move the August meeting to the 23rd. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Do we want to close out the Central Missouri Community Credit Union account?
I make a motion, we close that out.
A second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Consider recommending reappointment of Jane Beal to the library board.
Is it going to make a difference? I move that we recommend for reappointment to the board.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Right, any opposed? All right, the next item that is up, I question our need to do this. Obviously, the commissioners have both sent us letters saying that they want to make the appointments and have done so at our last appointment after we had a special meeting. And so I just recommend we just throw all the applications in their lap and let them have at it. The board can do what it wants, but that's my recommendation.
Well, there's a couple of persons in there that I would highly recommend we know.
Yeah, I agree.
For instance, there's one that was on the board.
Yeah.
She up and quit.
That's right.
So why should we reappoint her?
Yeah.
I mean, there's quite a few.
Do we need to interview all these applicants like we did before?
No.
I don't think so.
Not with the
I think we do.
If we do not know them and they have not been interviewed before?
Some have been.
Yeah, we've interviewed. Well, yeah, but I mean, they're new board members. They weren't in on that process.
They were on the other side.
Yeah, so they don't have the same information that we have. That's right.
Well, I don't know.
On the county commission, each of them are meeting.
They meet at least Johnson County meets 3 times a week, so.
Oh.
I assume Lafayette does the same thing.
I think so.
Okay.
I would like to suggest that we do interview each of the people who applied and make a recommendation and possibly have people from the board go to the commission and explain our choices. I was going to go anyway. Have a small, an official small group.
So we want to go through these right now, or are you going to do that?
Is that a motion?
I guess you have to do it right now, yeah.
Okay, my first question is, are we gonna accept all these applications?
That's what I'm saying, some of them shouldn't be.
Because I don't feel like some of them should be. This one applicant just quit in March. And now all of a sudden they want to come back. So what if that applicant gets mad again and decides to quit again in a month?
She won't be deciding won't be here.
Well, you don't know that.
And that's for the board to determine. I mean, when they submit them,
I don't feel like that application should even be accepted at this time.
We have the legal room.
I would have to look into that, Goldie.
I would assume we should include all applications.
It doesn't mean you have to select them, but
I think only to be fair, because that's the way we chose the last board members, I think we need to continue that process of interviewing them as a board. Because that we're changing rules every time then.
Many, many years, I'm here to attest since I've been on the board for almost 12 years, that it was not done that way ever. How many people did you have applying usually? Did you have 10 or 12?
Or 3.
I think because of the large number, we need to be more selective. In what way?
I agree.
What gets on and what doesn't. For instance, the individual that just resigned, and there's another one or two in there that have come into our meetings and came up with ideas that, no, I'm not doing that. We have policies against that and that type of thing. So I don't know if they should be on the board either. Well, that's why we all each have one vote, and we can help determine who we want to be on there. But how soon are you going to have this meeting?
Oh, we are going to have it soon. I would also like to suggest that we could do it by Zoom rather than, because we have a quorum and you can do it on Zoom. If you don't want to do it Zoom, others don't.
Do you mean on the board or the people who are applying? Either. Some of the board members don't use Zoom.
Okay.
I know that sounds rather antiquated, but some of us are.
Yeah, some people don't have the internet connection.
You know, one that's sometimes get that.
So, Jane, was you the only one that was application from Lafayette?
No, there's 3.
There's others?
Well, 4,
When she
including
was
her.
put on.
So we're recommending Jane, but we still have to reappoint other applicants.
Yes, yes.
We had how many?
And then Ron's leaving the board, so we have that vacancy.
We have a vacancy in Lafayette for the.
Besides you.
But we have one Lafayette applicant who does not live in the district. So, I mean, I don't think that even should be considered. And we talked about that last time.
I agree with
Who
that.
doesn't live in the district? One from Higginsville?
Christina Bell, she lives in Higginsville.
Yeah, but the
has-
Higginsville Library District boundary does not include all of.
Right, but I looked up her address and she lives in Old Higginsville.
But she also owns property in Portland.
Well, Ron owns property in what county is that? Carroll County? But he doesn't vote there. He doesn't get to be on the library board in Carroll County. When Holden.
But she lives in Lafayette County.
But we don't get tax money from Higginsville. We get no tax money.
She says on here that the what's that name of that library? Robertson Library is inadequate. Well, then she needs to convince the Robertson Library to join Trails, just like Trails did or Holden did.
It just says Johnson or Lafayette County residents. It does not specify, exclude Higginsville.
But Higginsville is not a part of this district. Just like 20 years ago, Holden was not a part of this district. And when Holden wasn't a part of the Trails Regional District, we didn't get to be represented on the board. We had our own library, just like Higginsville does now. If Higginsville wants to be represented on the board, then Higginsville needs to merge into Trails, just like Holden did. It's not, if she lived in that part where there's a strip along 13 Highway that Higginsville annexed in, and we get taxes off that, but she doesn't live in that strip. She lives in Old Town Higginsville, and we don't get any taxes off that. And I don't think that a person who doesn't live in the district.
I understand, but I feel like we still need to go by our bylaws. And if we want that to change later, I mean,
I don't think that. I think that is a state law. That's not our bylaws.
Yeah, that's the state law.
Higginsville specifically
That's county money. That's county money that's divided up.
And we've reached out to Higginsville several times.
But is
she
there a
doesn't-
state
she-
law that
But she
says,
doesn't vote in the district.
yeah, there's a state law that said if she doesn't live in the district.
I think that's a state law. I don't think that's certainly not a board by law.
Jackie would
pretty sure-
present that with to the legal again. I think we're better off.
Yeah, I can.
But I'm pretty sure Higginsville we don't get any of Higginsville's
We
tax.
don't get anything.
We get what's not their library district.
Right, so we don't get any library money from the city of Higginsville at all, period, because they have their own city library.
That's right.
But there again, she pays taxes quarter on the
That may be
property
if they have Higginsville address as well. It may count as Higginsville address that their tax money goes to the Higginsville library with the Higginsville.
Is it similar to schools where if you pay a percentage, a larger percentage in a district, you can go to that district? I think that's something.
And that may be something we need to look at if they want to, it's basically a non-resident where they would pay kind of, an average of what the normal taxpayer would pay. But we don't have that right now.
Okay.
So that could be something that we could look at later. But there again, she does own property in Quarter, so she is a taxpayer in our actual library district. And the bylaws do not state. It just says a resident of Lafayette and Johnson County.
And she was not one of the people that was personally interviewed.
Exactly.
Then we should go be on their board. I moved that we determine a time to have a meeting to interview candidates next week.
I second that.
I'm out of town on it.
Well, I think that the board can do that on their own, really.
I could talk to see if Susan is available and then she could stand in for a minute.
I would be fine with that.
Shouldn't the board do this on our own?
In the bylaws, the director is supposed to be at all of the board meetings with the exception of when the director's salary is being discussed or my tenure here.
All right.
I seconded it while ago.
In a second to have a meeting next Wednesday?
I'm confused now. So you will not be here, but the assistant director can.
I don't know. I would have to check with her and see if she would be available. Because that's not her normal, to be in the evening or whatever. So
When would you be back available?
the 5th, July 5th is when I come back to work.
I think we have to have it done before July 1st. Is that correct?
No, you don't have to.
We've had openings before.
Yeah, it would just be an opening.
We just want to even if it's not by the 1st, just as soon as we can. That way the commission has time, once we send our recommendations and that person isn't, like, oh, we have a meeting today. By the way, you're on the board, and then they have to show up. So
In 4 hours. Their meetings are quite.
So you're going to have a board of 7 people? And then you're going to send this to the commissioners and they don't always act promptly. So you'll be into the middle of July and still only have a board of 7 people?
A board of 7 is not good. You need the current board to deal with it.
So could we not do next week? Is that what that, no?
I'm not available next week.
Right, but somebody
But
could come.
I would have to check to see if the assistant director was available.
Okay. Does it have to be the assistant director or could it be someone that you deputize? I don't think that's the right word, but.
She's supposed to stand in for me if I'm not available. I could possibly join you remotely. If we were to have, surely we would have that option. You're going to do it in Warrensburg, is that right? So we should have that virtual option, so I could even attend that way if she wasn't able to come in person.
Okay. I move that we meet.
We have a
next
motion
week.
on the table and was seconded.
I think she's just kind of adding.
I was just restating basically.
Okay.
Sorry. So I believe my motion was
You were supposed to determine a time to interview applicants for board positions.
Okay. That'll work.
So, do you want to set a time?
Can I amend my motion?
Yes.
Right. I move that we meet next Wednesday at Warrensburg Library to interview possible Board of Trustee candidates.
That would be the 28th.
The 28th.
I'll second.
No, Sandy already has.
Sandy already did, okay. Way to go, Sandy.
All right. Does anyone have any questions?
28.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
At 7 o'clock. Or how are we doing
Or do
that?
we wanna
What's the
do it?
time on that?
Last time we had it earlier.
Yeah, we did.
Last time we had it like at 5:30.
I thought it was around 6 or 6:30, because people get, I mean, you don't know if people working or not.
Right.
I
can't remember what time. I know
I
it was
think we did
earlier.
5:30.
Well, I think we did 5:30 because
Oh.
one of the applications has 5:30 PM on it.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? What time?
I could, Jackie said, don't look at me, I'm not gonna.
I'll be
You want to set a time? 5:30? About 15 minutes apiece, right? That was, you did last time.
Yeah, 10 minutes ended up being plenty. If we remember right, 10 minutes ended up being a lot of, more than enough.
And the questions that were asked last time.
Just an
I have those.
Determined.
I have those. Yeah.
Are we interviewing Lafayette too?
I would say you would need to do it for
All of them.
Everybody.
For the Lafayette seat too?
I agree.
Do everybody at the same time. It's fair.
All right. Any more discussion on this matter? All right, we're up for electing officers for next year. We have President, Vice President, Treasurer, and Secretary. I nominate Sandy for President.
I'll second that.
I think there can be multiple nominees. I don't think you have to second a nomination, do you? I think it's just nominating
Okay.
and then,
Whatever.
and then there can be multiple nominations.
I'll nominate Sandy for President, Carlin for Vice President, Judy for Secretary, and Jane Long for Treasurer.
I won't take secretary.
5 nominees, so you have to decline.
I nominate Patty Long for president.
We'll vote for each officer at a time and then go on. Okay.
Any other nominations?
The president or for all?
Oh, okay, we're going to do President. Okay, any other nominations for President?
I nominate Goldie.
I nominate Carlin.
For president.
Mhm.
Okay, so you
I've
nominate
nominated 2 people.
Sandy and Carl.
Yeah. Any other nominations for President? Okay, we'll take a,
They could decline too if they
Yeah,
don't want to be
right.
president. Yeah.
we'll go ahead. Anybody decline?
Decline. Well, I haven't been on here so long, I want to learn more.
Okay.
That didn't stop me.
Carlin, when does your term end?
I have no idea.
Sandy, when does your term end?
25, I think, 25 or 26.
Carlin, yours ends 2025, June 2025, and the same thing.
Okay, we'll go ahead and vote.
But then it's going around, so we fill out some type of a ballot, which I never made up any ballot.
Just be brave and vote. We're adults.
Okay, so,
All right, so we'll just go around the table.
and say who wants
Yeah.
to.
Mhm.
Okay. Judy Walter.
We could all vote for ourselves.
Done.
Sandy.
Okay, Carlin Dillon.
What's my choices again? Patty, Sandy,
And yourself.
oh, I'd vote for myself.
Becky Courier. Goldie Edwards.
I vote for Patty.
Patty Long.
I'm gonna vote for Carlin.
You voted for yourself. How often do you get the chance to vote for yourself?
Danny Beal.
Patty.
Ron McMullen.
Sandy.
Judy Tyler. Patty Long. And Scotty Walker.
Carlin.
I forgot about, I'll vote for Carl. I forgot she was running.
Sandy.
Sandy.
Move mine from Sandy to Carl.
Sandy Hankey, who do you vote for?
I vote for myself.
All right, we have 2 votes for Sandy. 1, 2, 3, 4 votes for Carlin. 1, 2, 3, 4 votes for Patty. We have a tie between Carlin and Patty.
You can go around again between the two.
I guess the 2. Mhm.
All right.
So the choices now are Carlin Dillon and Patty Long. Judy Walter. Oh, I'm sorry. Who do you vote for?
Patty.
Patty? Carlin Dillon.
Second time, I'm gonna vote for myself.
You never had
2 for 2, right?
Becky Courier. Goldie Edwards. Patty Long.
Vote for myself. Yeah.
Okay. Jane Beal.
Patty.
Ron McMullen. Carlin or Patty?
Yeah, Carlin.
Myself, Patty. Scotty Walker.
Carlin.
And Sandy Hankey.
Carlin.
Okay. So we have 4, 5, 6 votes for Patty. And 1,
Like, I have that same one.
4 votes for Carlin. Hello, Madam President.
All right, now we need some nominees for vice president.
I nominate Carlin.
Man, it's a bonus night, man.
You get a lot of votes.
I am.
Are there any other nominations?
Go ahead and take the roll.
All right. We have Carlin Dillon has been nominated for vice president. Judy Walter.
Is there only one nominee?
There's only one nominee.
Is there
So we don't
anybody,
need
can we
to.
just oppose, if there's anybody opposed? Can we just take an acclamation?
I would say so.
All right.
Okay.
Now we need a treasurer. I nominate Sandy.
We lost Sandy.
Oh, she's off. Well, I still nominate her.
Okay.
We could give her a real nice. She's on there.
Make her be the secretary. Her photo's not there. Yeah, I can send secretary.
Are there any other nominations for treasurer? You just have what? I will nominate Jane Beal. We've already picked up nomination.
Any other nominations? Okay, let's take a vote.
All right, Judy Walter. Who are we on? We're off. Oh, I'm sorry. And the nominations are Sandy Hankey and Jane Beal.
Treasurer?
Harlan, Philip.
Jane.
Becky Courier. Goldie Edwards.
Andy.
Patty Long.
Jane.
Jane Beal.
I'll vote for myself.
Ron McMullen.
Sandy.
Susie Tyler. Jane Beal. Sandy, are you still here?
No, we lost her.
Yeah, well, I assumed we had, but I thought I'd give you the chance. Scotty Walker.
Sandy.
Jane Beal received 6 votes, and Sandy received 3 votes. So the winner is Jane Beal
Okay, and now,
Treasurer.
for treasurer.
now we need nominations for secretary.
I nominate Becky.
Are you,
Tied.
are you okay with that, Becky? Okay.
She comes in here with the computer.
You know. I know.
Any other nominations?
You don't want it again? I can't.
Oh, she's talking to Judy.
I'm talking to Judy Tyler. I thought she wanted to be.
I think she made it clear what
I think she took it over from Jana.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like if we
she had it before.
If we vote her secretary, we're all gonna need escorts.
You are.
If we get out. You've done a really good job.
So we just have one nomination?
Yes.
All right. By acclamation.
By acclamation, Becky. Would you like to just have my notes?
Okay, we need to approve new board officers to bank account check signers.
We have to have a motion for that?
Yes.
I move that we accept the new board members to be on the bank account for signing checks.
Second.
The board officers, did I say officers or members?
I don't know if you need to put it in there, but to remove the ones that are.
Yeah, and remove the.
Yeah.
Okay, so I make a motion that we remove the old officers and replace them with the new officers at the bank to sign checks.
Where are the checks tonight?
Oh, I'm sorry. I completely forgot to get them out. Thank you.
We have a second on that?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We need to talk about the 2024 preliminary budget.
So basically, this is pretty much the same budget that you were presented with at last meeting, with a few adjustments. also increased the revenues by $233,990. I did remove transferring $45,500 from our developmental reserve. And then I added $188,500 to miscellaneous capital projects. So those were the changes from the last meeting. Does anybody have any questions?
I would like to see, and I don't know if this would come out of our budget or whose, signs where the library is in each of our towns.
That would, you would have to work with those communities to get those signs put up.
Okay.
We're spending an awful lot on furniture. I had a question about that. Because you have, what kind of furniture are we buying? I guess is what I want to know. Are we buying new shelving? I mean, I don't understand what we're buying.
The bulk of this were requests that from the branches that went to the foundation, and then the foundation approved those purchases. So what we do is we purchase them, and then they reimburse us the money. So it's offset in revenues that way under gifts. Okay. And that was about 18,000 of that. Most of it was Warrensburg. So there's like a display, there's some new seating, I think hardback chairs. That's the biggest thing. Well, Miss Jay's back there. She can tell you what it is.
We have some softies, because I said, in Warrensburg, at one time, I think we got right away because they were bedtime, and they got broken and we don't have adequate clean over there, so a lot of it is just adding to what we already have and replacing kind of what stuff that needs to be.
Is appliances considered part of
furniture and equipment? Yes. Yes.
You know why I'm asking that? Because I was in here, I don't know, it was maybe 30 days ago. And I had stopped at the store and bought something frozen, and I came in here and I asked them if I could put it in the refrigerator so that I could see. They don't have a refrigerator here.
Oh, well. I guess you're out of luck, aren't you?
So I was just wondering if that was something in the. I thought about going and buying one.
Do we have a refrigerator?
We have a tiny one. It's like a dorm room one is what we have. And it's crammed full. If you're talking about here, is it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's.
Yeah, they can't even make ice. If you're here.
To have a larger one?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you'll let Roger speak to this.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. My name is Roger Dumas. I'm the support service manager. Filling in for Luke, who usually does the streaming. With the refrigerator here, they do have a small one. The issue that we kind of ran into with getting them a bigger one, because we were looking at getting a bigger one in this last year, we found out we had electrical issues in the back, that there wasn't a plug close enough to actually plug it in. To be able to be safe and not use extension cables, which you're not supposed to use on refrigerators, we have to do some rearranging in their back area, which if you've been back there, you know is very small. The IT department to help do that is actually redoing our entire network rack up on the wall to give them the room to have a fridge to be underneath it, where there is adequate electricity for it to go. So at this point, it's moving into this next year, this next fiscal year, for us to move into that project to make the room so that a better fridge can actually be there. And as to what the fridge will be, we haven't bought one at this point, but there is supposed to be something kind of going in that spot to give them kind of what you're talking about. I don't think it's going to be a full-size fridge.
Well, didn't they have a fridge before?
They've got a small one.
It's like a dorm room one.
No, but the one before they got the dorm one, didn't they have a bigger?
Janae, would you know?
Did they used to have a bigger fridge?
I can't remember one, but Janae, you know better than I would.
We had a small one.
Yeah, I think we had a small one, and I think we replaced it with another small one at one point in the past. But I could be thinking of a different brand.
Every workplace had a refrigerator.
But we are trying to get something better.
No,
That is in the plan to go through.
I do have one that's been sitting for a while that I haven't used in my basement. I have no idea if it would, but it's full size. It would be up for the taking. You guys would probably just have to look at it, make sure it's.
We would just need to look at it. We would need to also measure to make sure it's going to fit in the area that we actually have. I don't know if you've been in their back. It's very cramped, and we're trying to give them the best room to have a break room type area so that they can have this type of stuff since they haven't in the past. But if you'd like to get your information to Jackie, she can pass that off, and I'd probably have my tech, Billy, come by and get measurements and look at it, check to see if it's good, all of that. And so
Well,
we can definitely look
if I
at
didn't know you just had a small one, I would have complained then too, because I'm telling you, I think every workplace should have a refrigerator you can get ice out of.
Now you're asking for.
I know, I'm asking for a lot. Okay. Well, you can put an ice cube tray in it. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys.
Thanks, Roger.
So we just need to approve this budget as a preliminary budget?
Yes. So that we have a budget for the new fiscal year coming up. Okay. And then we do our final budget in August after our tax levy.
So once again, I have asked about the parking lot in Noster. Does that go under,
It goes under
building maintenance? No.
That one would be under capital expense.
Capital expense. I'm gonna make a note.
And I believe we have 80,000 in there for that. For not, you were talking about non-Noster.
Yes, So 80,000 of that would be that, in that.
Yes.
What else do we have in that?
So we have specifically, so we have some money in there for the Concordia parking lot resurfacing. We have annex, divert rainwater from the garage area, replace the courier van, which we're hoping we can push off to one more year, but we have it in there just in case. And then of course, 2,000 for outfitting the van with, in other words, having all the stuff done on the inside and then our logo and everything on there. And then this is where I have that miscellaneous category, $386,500, so that we can start working on those priority things that we determined from our assessment of our branches. And so those are all, they're listed.
It was just really high. I didn't know if the Warrensburg roof was still in that or if that had been fixed.
Nope, that's out.
Okay.
Tonight, when you guys approve the checks, that is our last payment on the roof. We are done, finally. They finally finished all the checklists, so.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I make a motion that do we have a motion on the table?
No.
I make a motion that we approve the budget as it stands. Preliminary, thank you, preliminary budget as it stands. I knew there was a word I missed.
So a motion to approve the budget as it is, preliminary budget. Any second?
Second.
Any further discussion? We'll take a roll call vote on that.
Judy Walter.
Yes.
Carla Dellen.
Yes.
Becky Courier.
Yes.
Goldie Edwards.
Yes.
Patty Long.
Yes.
Jane Beal.
Yes.
Ron McMullen.
Yes.
Judy Tyler, yes. Scotty Walker.
Sure, why not?
It's only money.
Sure, I know. And motion.
All right. Last item up for discussion is the Holden lease, and I need to give you some background on that. So, as has been previously stated, This building was built entirely with donations, no trails money, no city money, 100% donations 20 years ago. At that time, the Holden Municipal Library District was its own entity. And we knew that we couldn't operate a library once we got it built, so we decided to merge with Trails. As a lot of people know, there's a lot of mistrust between Holden and Warrensburg, and so we went to a lawyer, and the lawyer said, well, here's what you do. You donate the building to the city, but the city has to agree to basically a 100-year lease. It's divided into 5 20-year segments. The lease is here. The lease is coming due later this month, but there's been some rumblings at City Hall that they want to renegotiate the lease. I am 100% opposed to that. This building was never meant to be a city hall or a police station or a firehouse. It was intended to be a library, and the donors who built this or who made this building possible would be severely disappointed if this board or if the city or this board ever decided to break that lease. The only way that anybody can, I don't care what anybody tells you, I can read this lease. I don't care what City Hall wants to say, this lease automatically renews every 20 years for the next 80 years. But I bring this to your attention because I know what's coming down the pike, and I don't want you to fall for anything that they might present to the board. It's a pretty darn good deal for Trails, although sometimes I feel like Trails doesn't treat us equitably. We never get any new furniture, we never get anything new, but that Trails doesn't pay any rent. And so I just want the board to realize how this lease came about and why it's very important that Trails renews this lease as is. And then again, another 20 years, and again, another 20 years, and by then I'll be dead, so I'll just have to fuck you if you don't do it, so.
Well, I'll be dead too, so.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Would it pay us as citizens to go to the council meeting when this is discussed and it's done? Express or is there even an opportunity?
Well, the last discussion I had was, you're going to get your damn library, so don't worry about that. So it's like, well, whatever you want, you can't negotiate the lease. So yes, Julie, since you're on the city council.
As part of this city council, Scotty, I don't believe you're going to have any trouble.
Okay, well that's good to know. But I wanted the board to know in case anything came up that this is how it came about, and I'm pretty proud of this lease, and I'm pretty proud of this library. And
You all can come, not me.
I don't know, for somebody's afraid to come in it.
Oh yeah, but now I can come into the library freely.
I know.
Okay. Any announcements? Any announcements? You got any announcements?
I don't have anything.
Ron, it's been a pleasure serving with you.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Enjoyed everyone. Thanks.
Yep. Everybody, good luck in the future. I hope it works out.
You want?
Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Good luck to you.
No further business. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Sure, yeah.